Hi lovely friends, welcome back. I'm Jess, this is the Scapegoat Club, and ooh, it's a little bit sunny. Let me adjust the camera, I'll be right back. Alright my friends, welcome back. Today I want to talk science. Yeah, afraid so. It's going to be a little bit more technical today because I did some research because I am studying psychology, counseling psychology, and I wanted to understand a little bit more about what's going on in those brains of our friends, the narcissists, and also with ourselves. So I should start with a disclaimer. I am not a qualified psychologist. I am studying psychology right now, and I have looked into a research paper. I will put the information in the description. But anything I say about the research paper, if I misinterpret it or I have said anything wrong, that is my fault. But I'm pretty confident. I think I got it about right. So today I wanted to talk about the idea of what we do, what our brains do when we come up with conflicting ideas. So our brains aren't set up. We're not, or as organisms in general, people, we're not set up to believe two different truths about one thing. It just doesn't vibe. It doesn't work. So we have to adjust our behavior or our thoughts so that we can only believe one thing at a time. And so the concept of believing two things at the same time, two conflicting things, it's called cognitive dissonance. So a good example of this is if you smoke, and if you also have seen the public health information that smoking is bad for you. So how do you reconcile those two ideas? Because believing that smoking is really harmful for you and whilst continuing to smoke, it doesn't make any sense. That's a cognitive dissonance. And so what you might do in that situation is you might say, okay, well, I'll stop smoking, or you might say, okay, well, I'm just going to smoke less because it won't be as bad for me. Or you might say, hey, well, my great aunt Ethel smoked 40 a day until she was 90 and she was fine, so I don't believe that it's bad for me, or I have good genes and so I'll be fine, or whatever it is. So we kind of modify our thoughts and our behaviors to be able to manage that kind of disconnect of these two conflicting ideas. And so why the hell am I talking about it here and about narcissists? Oh, because if you're new here, this apparently is supposed to be a channel about narcissism. Welcome. And so I'm really interested in the cognitive dissonance with narcissists and also with us, the scapegoats. So let's think about it with the narcissists. And because I don't know about you, but I'm finding my narcissists they're not based in reality. They don't seem to believe anything that's true, and they just seem to be in this kind of almost alternate universe. And I'm like, well, how does that work in their heads when I am literally going to them with evidence that says XYZ happened, and they turn around and say, no, it didn't. I'm like, well, isn't that a dissonance right there? How can they say that the truth didn't happen? And this has happened a lot, and it's regularly happening this. And so I'm just like, what's going on? And I have a lovely little friend who's joining me. I've got a pet on my hat now. Hi bud, you can hang in there. So what is going on? Well, I found this really interesting study, and it was basically talking about defense mechanisms for people who have personality disorders. Again, disclaimer, I can't say that my family necessarily has a personality disorder, but this was done by real scientists on real people who have personality disorders. A whole spectrum of personality disorders, not just narcissism, but it it applies to narcissists for sure. They were in the study. So what they said, and forgive me for reading, I just want to make sure I get it right. Defense mechanisms are mental operations that occur without conscious awareness, intention, and effort. So they're these automatic responses that we have, and we all have, when we are in certain situations or things provoke us, and these unconscious reactions occur. The defense mechanisms prevent the individual from experiencing excessive anxiety and becoming aware of unacceptable thoughts, urges, or wishes. The defense mechanisms mitigate the changes in reality or self-image that cause dissonance. And so what that means is that when a narcissist comes across a situation where they maybe have to look at themselves and make a different interpretation of their behaviors or their image. So I'm giving an example of where they've done something, they haven't behaved right, and a normal person would look at it and say, okay, I shouldn't do that next time, or they might apologize. What happened with the people who were being studied was that they had these defense mechanisms that kicked in to alter reality, so that they didn't have to rethink how they saw themselves. That narcissists actually have a defense mechanism where they automatically interpret or remember or dismiss certain events and rewrite them so that they can carry on with their delusion of being right, being better than everyone else, being whatever their self-image is, and that image that they portray to the world. Their defense mechanisms kick in so to actually alter reality. And I find this really powerful because I've been struggling myself with, as you know, if you've been watching this before, with my family, and find myself again and again kind of just coming back to this question around, why is this even happening? How can I be estranged from my family? How can this be a real thing? How can they not know or deny or ignore reality? How can this happen? And that's my answer. It's inbuilt. It's within them, and unless they do the work and see the need to change, a change isn't going to happen. So then I come back to the cognitive dissonance on my end, because every time I talk to them about certain situations, they're like, nope, it didn't happen that way, no one else is to blame, it was your fault, you know, all this stuff. It's really, really hard, and I'm glad now that I know what cognitive dissonance is and just how damaging it is, because I lived that for so long. I lived in this completely screwed up mess where reality doesn't match what they're saying, and I honestly am just, I don't know how I survived without losing some kind of reality out there. I think sometimes I did. And that makes me really angry, actually, that people like this can steal your reality and drive you mad. That makes me really, really angry. I just think it must be exhausting living in that web of alternative reality. I feel like all my videos at the end, they're like, it's really sad. But it is. It is really sad. It's sad for the narcissists, and it's sad for the rest of us who are caught up in it. So what isn't sad is that it's a beautiful day and the sun is shining and spring is coming. Yay! Thank you again for being here. Please drop me a line if you feel so inclined. I love to hear from you, but I know it's hard sometimes, and I know sometimes I just waffle on about God knows what. So if that was helpful or useful, let me know. If it was way too technical, let me know. If it was like way too easy and you were like, yeah, Chess, we knew about cognitive dissonance decades ago and you only just figured it out, then okay. But I did only just figure it out. And I think a lot of us are still learning about the joys of narcissism. So that's why I'm here. Well, friends, thanks again. Great to see you. Please take care of yourselves. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Ooh! I don't want to sound fancy. How about now? Is that okay? That's okay. Is that okay? So today I wanted to talk about the problems that we have when our brains can't figure out what's going on. No, that's not true. A little bit of sunlight. How can what magic do I have to fix this? Do I have any magic? No, the sun just wants to shine on me, baby. Alright. Sun says no. And God knows. The sun's in charge. Or not so much. Is it really impossible to believe two things at the same time? Two conflicting things at the same time? I'm racking my brains. Like, what if I believe that, say, like, Mickey Mouse is real? Or maybe not Mickey Mouse. Maybe Harry Potter. Or Dumbledore. I'd love to meet Dumbledore. Oh, but then No, did he die? I can't remember. I'm mixing him up with Gandalf.